The cost of food up 10.4%. Cost of electricity has jumped 13.7%. And don't even get us started on oil. I mean, you know this, up 98.5%. Once again, is Manchin really sabotaging the Democrats, or as Carl pointed out, is he saving them?
Yeah, so let's break it down. For more on this Trump campaign aide and author of Wicked Game, Rick Gates, welcome. So I got to ask here, is Manchin actually helping the Democrats going into the midterms?
Well, the Democrats wouldn't see it that way, but, you know, Manchin is helping Manchin, and that is for his reelection, you know, coming up in a couple of years. He knows his constituency of West Virginia. He knows that, you know, this is the third largest state for Trump voters in 2020. And he sees this and he understands that in order to get reelected, he's got to be true to his constituents in West Virginia, not the United States of America. And so he is making decisions based on that. And frankly, they're pretty good decisions, you know, from a Republican point of view. And he has stymied Joe Biden's agenda a lot, but I think Bernie Sanders is a little off. This is not the agenda that, you know, the majority of American people want. It may be the one that most Democrats want, but Joe Manchin's doing the right thing for him and West Virginia in his mind.
All right, well said there, Rick. We're also going to welcome in former Nevada State GOP Chairwoman and Newsmax contributor Aide Tarkanian. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
All right, we're going to let you dive right in here. Just your response to Joe Manchin, Bernie Sanders, we shared, saying that he just continually is trying to sabotage the Democrats, or is he just being practical?
Well, I agree with Rick. He is being practical, and he's actually doing what his constituents want him to do. This is the way that his state is actually made up politically. And it would go the same for, say, like a Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski, when there are certain Republicans that are further to the right that represent a further right area that get upset with some of their votes. Their votes are more moderate, just as the same as Joe's. They're more moderate. And so this is not a sabotage. This is simply doing his job that he was actually voted in and employed to do.
Yeah, Senator Manchin, it kind of just raises the hand and says, hey, has anybody sanity checked the fact that we already printed $7 trillion and like...
I agree. And also, just because a Democrat or even a Republican is voting against party lines doesn't mean they're trying to sabotage. I mean, dissent is not always a bad thing.
No.
So if he's thinking, again, sanity check here, he's actually being, once again, practical, as we're all agreeing.
Right, but Rick, you know,
in fact, I think debate is healthy. The more that you have different opinions, I think the healthier our republic is.
Yeah, I totally agree. Rick, the spending plans, though, we've seen it lead. Like Janet Yellen was like somehow caught off guard by the fact that, oh, if you print $7 trillion, you're going to have inflation. But I mean, like, is this sustainable? And can we print our way out of it? Or are we looking to see interest rates potentially match the 9+% inflation?
Oh, no, you can't spend your way out of it. And that's exactly what Joe Biden's trying to do, because by spending, he thinks that the voters across America are going to find favor in that. But what they see time and time again is the consequences of those poor policy decisions. So there's no way to spend it. And Joe Manchin knows that. Look, he is a survivor. West Virginia is a tough state, you know, even for a moderate Democrat. And given the kind of propensity toward Trump and Trump's agenda and the America First agenda, and that's going to continue. It's not going to change. And a lot of the issues that the Democrats are pushing right now, particularly the progressives, are absolutely at odds with what Joe Manchin's state needs and wants. And that's exactly why Joe Manchin is supporting his constituents, not those of Joe Biden.
Yeah, Rick, that's a great point. Talking about not just the Democrat parties, but the progressive Democrats. What are their priorities? As we heard again, Bernie Sanders say, this is not what America wants. But it seems like the progressives have no idea what America not just wants or needs. Amy.
I don't think they even care, to be honest. I think they are hell-bent on their agenda, and they're ready to steamroll over anybody who disagrees with them. And that's not the way that this should work. You know, we need to be able to have dissenting opinions and coming to the table and figuring things out together as a Congress. It's not just one way or the highway. And that seems to be how the progressive unit is functioning.
Well, right, but Rick, on that, in that same vein, obviously, the left's priorities are, I mean, like, guys, let's get our house in order first, and then we can worry about, you know, look, the Ukraine thing I get is a global, it's basically a proxy war that's keeping Russia kind of at bay and keeping an all-out war. But at the same time, it's like you guys can spend $40 billion to secure their borders, but not ours.
Yeah, but Carl, a lot of these problems didn't start, they started before the Ukraine war. And so all we're seeing is a continuation of that. Yes, so if you can listen to Joe Biden and his administration, the border is secure, we have the best economy in the world, and everything is going great. But the American people aren't buying into that. And I think what you're going to see over time, look, Joe Biden had an opportunity at State of the Union address over a year ago, and even more so recently, to change his policy direction, to understand that we have issues and that we've got to come up with solutions. And he didn't do that, and nor did his administration. So that's why you're continuing to see a decline, not just with Republicans, but Democrats in their support for him. And he is not going to change. Now he's run out of time. He doesn't have time to change that policy agenda.
Yeah, Rick, you said, they haven't come up with solutions. What do you think some of those solutions could potentially be?
Well, absolutely. Well, number one, inflation, economy, right? Stop spending, cut taxes. That's historically proven to help, our economy. When you look at crime, Starbucks closing 16, stores across the nation. All 5 jurisdictions are run by Democratic governors. Where is the reduction in crime? Everything that are top issues among states that we're seeing across the U.S. in primaries are things that Biden has not addressed. But what is he addressing? Well, he's addressing, Roe v. Wade. He's addressing, gun violence, things that he thinks are going to galvanize Democrats. But at the end of the day, Republican or Democrat, inflation doesn't discriminate, against political party. Everybody is feeling that pain, and that's Joe Biden's problem.
Amy, it's not like there's no data or historical figures to support the fact that, look, when you lower taxes and slow spending, people, we've seen what makes the economy tick. This is not a myth or a secret. We've had hundreds of years of this. Why don't they take a page out of that?
Right. It's very puzzling. And I think it's more so they just want everybody to feel good. Right. And so that's why they're appeasing all of these different areas with their requests. And they're not good requests, but they're more afraid of the kickback or the anger that comes towards them. And so they would rather bribe the public with more stimulus money, for example. They would rather bribe the public by telling them they're going to throw more money at a program to make you feel good at that moment without even realizing the long-term repercussions. And that's why this administration is so dangerous. And it's funny because not only is the president tanking in the polls, any poll, pick a poll, it doesn't matter if it's left, middle, or right, but also the first lady is tanking in the polls, which is not very common. And so she's actually underperforming, I believe, her husband at this moment, even in a CNN poll. And so you've got this supposed dynamic duo that is both doing a terrible job, and the entire nation can see it. And then you've got Kamala Harris as the VP, who is also polling below both of them. So you've got our top 3 representatives that are just embarrassing across the board.
Yeah, you're right.
And Nancy Pelosi is polling lower than all 3 of them. So
there you
go.
go.
Going down.
Yeah, a party in decline, it seems. We've got about 20 seconds left. Rick, do you think we're going to see the Democrats, this administration, make some last-ditch attempts to backtrack as we approach the midterm elections?
Well, I think it's hard to backtrack right now in the sense that we don't have enough time before the midterms. So I think they're going to try to pull out other issues. I think they're going to stick to this agenda of, looking at, additional spending to kind of say, hey, America, we're sweetening the pot for you. We're helping you. You might see some COVID payments. Who knows what else the Democrats might do, but they're not going to have time to shift their policy agenda to actually make voters out there resonate with them so that they're going to change their mind.